Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mind Over Motor podcast. I'm your host, Nick Walker.
I'm your co-host, Al Davis, with a special guest, this parrot. His name is Enzo.
The parrot.
Hey, everybody.
Enzo the
I'm
jackass.
John from Han Jazz. Here to
What
talk
up?
about some cars. How's it going, guys?
Not too bad.
He
Yes,
It's Cinco
sir.
de Mayo.
Let's start. It is Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, recording on
I
Cinco
mean,
de
I
Mayo.
know we're less than like a minute into it, but Cinco de Mayo. Some of us take tequila very seriously, and if you take tequila very seriously, you know what Tapatio Excelencia is, and you know how hard it is to get, and you know, hopefully, how delicious it is. This is the pappy of tequila, as they say. And I was lucky enough to score a bottle for retail, so I'm happy.
Brinco de Mayo. This is probably the fourth time I've actually drank this.
I was
I've
gonna
had this
say, do you
bottle
just
for-
drink? Do you just drink your tequila on Cinco de Mayo every year? What?
I've been occasionally known to make margaritas with this. Sometimes I cook with it. I really
Oh,
don't
Lord.
drink it that much because I'm not a huge tequila guy. Never was. But
Well, Albert,
if I
we
have
might
to
have
pick
to
tequila,
change. We might have to change that during Greenwich weekend. Might have
That's
to.
right.
Oh,
That's coming
God.
up.
Might have to expose you to some tequila.
That's coming up, man.
yes,
That's
it is,
coming.
and I have rented a fantastic Airbnb for that.
Yeah. All right, let's get into what we did, what we've been doing in cars recently. We can open it up just this week.
Nick, why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, all right, I'll go first. So I've had a pretty exciting week in cars. I just got back from Las Vegas. Me and my wife went for our anniversary and a little part of the anniversary, so this was our 5th anniversary. And, you're supposed to get each other wood for your 5th anniversary.
Really?
So I'm getting her a tree that she's going to pick out, like a live tree that we're going to plant or whatever, or she's going to have somewhere. And I
That's
told
cute.
her, what I want for the wood gift. I would rather drive a Ferrari or a Porsche. So we did that. Naturally in Vegas, there's a few like exotic track driving experiences you can do on various racetracks around the city. Every time I'm in Vegas, I try to do one. Just one of the perks of that town. Neither of us really gamble. So we just spend the money we would lose gambling on other stuff. So we did a little track driving, and I'm going to do an individual review. I drove 5 cars. I'm going to do individual reviews on each of them, but I still collecting my thoughts on those and making notes, letting them sink in, but kind of want to talk about the experience a little bit. This is the first time I've done Dream Racing, which is based in the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where they do the NASCAR races. Their normal track is on the infield, which is a really good track for beginners to get their hands on some interesting cars. It's pretty flat, pretty approachable, a nice long straight, or longish straight where you can see over 120 in most of the cars. And, but like the corners aren't really too many curveballs on that. We were not on that track because there was something going on. We were on the outfield track, which is basically there's a decent sized road course set up right outside. And we were on the lower portion of the road course. This is the first time I've ever driven this track. And I have driven the other one years ago. This track is much more interesting, much more technical, and it's about the same overall length at 1.2 miles. But oh my God, in 1.2 miles and like 10 turns, there are 5 pretty tricky features. 2 of which happen over 100 miles an hour in most of the cars, and 4 of which happen over 80 miles an hour in most of the cars. So I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised, like just given the Vegas clientele, most of the one guy who I'm in the class with, like I didn't know this at the time, but like his chick told my wife that he was still feeling it from the night before, which is kind of fucking terrifying, actually. He spun a Lamborghini race car. And I had to go around him as he was facing the wrong way. But I digress. The kind of people that are doing this level of track was way more advanced than most of the drivers who are just trying to get their hands on a Lamborghini for the first time. And there's a lot of really like hairy aspects. I really enjoyed it. I'll be honest, I left humble. Like, I had a really good instructor who seems like he was like surprised that I was taking it so seriously. And so I think he like kind of ran with that, and he was really good. And I learned a lot. I think I left a better driver than I came in. But I mean, this track was really pretty difficult, and it pushed my limits. There's definitely certain areas like there on the back straight, it's straight, and then it goes into a right-hander that kind of sweeps into a hairpin, and you hit that right-hander over 100. And I'm sure if you're in a car with downforce, or if you are an instructor, the track, the cars, someone could probably get the McLaren up to like 130 or so there if you had the balls and the training and the knowledge. I only managed around 110 because I did not have the balls to stay in it as it kinked at that speed. And knowing it was kind of hard to judge too. There's a lot of things. So it's just learning the track. If I went back, I'd really want to I'd want to get like 10 laps in like a Cayman or something, like one of the slower cars, and really just do it over and over and over again. Learn the course really well. I did do a lot of laps, but you're switching every car every 5 laps. As you learn the track, you're kind of intimidated, like as you're stepping up in car, right? I was sort of just starting to get the hang of it, and I got it, we went from 5 to 700 horsepower, and then I was like, was a little intimidated there, but it worked out well. But I will say, and then the other thing that was weird was at the end of the front straight, there's like a bit of a yump, like an incline, and if you don't kind of tap the brakes a little going up, the car easily gets upset, and there were people literally sending the cars off the track at that point. I was not one of them. I kept it together. I listened to my instructor, but some of these guys some of these people who were just doing this for the first time, like they're sending a Lamborghini into the sand. You know what I mean? Or the pista after I drove it. Like this one dude wound up like deep off of.
That's insane. That is absolutely.
It's absolutely nuts. That's what I mean. This track, like those are the two big ones, but there's other like there's like a fishbowl turn, kind of like NJMP, but it's way tighter. And that's in the middle. It's like, it's really cool, but it's like, it's way, way above the level of most of their clientele. And I got a lot out of it, but I'm just thinking like,
maybe they need to put a suggestion in their terms and conditions that you take a breath ladder test before you do this.
That one spooked me, and my wife didn't tell me that till after we were done. I wasn't really on the track.
There was no test
with that guy like one time through his laps or whatever. I drove 5 cars. I drove way more cars than most people do. But like,
so she knew he had tied on a few like the night before.
She texted me, but I wasn't checking my phone when.
Oh yeah,
she texted me,
okay, that makes sense. You hadn't looked.
I was waiting. So the cars I drove, I was supposed to start in the Lotus, but that was getting new tires, but I was kind of waiting for that. But we wound up starting. So like the other people that were with me in the first heat, they started before me. And so I wait, and I wound up in the Corvette as my warm-up car, which is nice. You get 4 laps to kind of learn the track before you start the cars.
What, Z06 or a regular Stingray?
No, it was a regular C8. Which was nice. It was nice to get reacquainted with that. I probably would have rather done the Lotus, but at the time I was just like, we're not going to like hold up the day for that. So it was good to get reacquainted with the C8 Corvette. We'll be doing a review. Then after that, I decided I wanted to explore. I had some agendas going into this. I wanted to re-explore, given some of the Ferrari stuff we've been talking about in the last year, and we drove the 296 and stuff. And I've really been like, just like, in my head, I've just been back, like thinking about older Ferraris, naturally aspirated Ferraris, what that experience is like. So I did sign up for their 430 Scuderia, which was the first Ferrari I ever drove. That car was in the shop, but they had a backup 430, so I ran with that. And
the
man,
backup
like,
was not a Scuderia.
not a Scuderia, but it was a 430 with valve delete exhaust, and it answered my question.
That'll work.
Put it that
That'll
way.
work.
It absolutely answered my question. I'm not going to go too far into it right now, but I got the insight that I was looking for out of it, and man, those things, I forgot how good the normal 430 drives. That's an interesting car, and especially now that they're like sort of cheap. I think bull market list for sure. And this was like, dude, this was not a cream puff. This was 50,000 miles rental car, like, you know, not a peach of a 430 at all, but well maintained, right?
Yeah,
definitely a mechanically sound car.
That's how they like to be driven, you know.
Dude, and this is
I would rather have a car like that.
Yeah. And it really kind of put a lot of things in perspective, in a way that largely affirms things I've been saying. But without going too far into that, the next car I drove, keeping it naturally aspirated, Cayman GT4 RS Porsche. We had driven one before. I drove one at Extreme Experience. Yeah, I drove one at Extreme Experience a few years ago. But that was after the point where they stopped letting you like manually shift and stuff. So, you know, I drove it, but it was in sport mode, whatever. But I really wanted to drive one on a more technical track where I could actually shift gears. And again, that car just, you know, that having that airbox in the cabin with you is unbelievable. And then just the way the car drives, the way it, you know, shifting with PDK, like it's a really, really wild experience. But so then after that, we stepped up the game. We went from 500 to 700 horsepower, and I drove the Ferrari 488 Pista. I've driven a bunch of 488s, but this is my first opportunity I've had to drive a Pista. And man, what
are the main differences with the Pista?
It's just more hardcore. It's like the Scuderia, the 430 Scuderia is the same to the 430 as the Pista is to the 488. And basically what I would say is it's just like they take out really anything between you and the sensations coming from the car. It's just the most connected, the most minutia. There's nothing in the way of the driving experience for the sake of comfort or anything like that. And it's, you know, it's a little bit more focused in areas like all Ferraris are pretty well tuned in terms of handling and stuff. But this is, you know, there may be like a layer for comfort in the normal models that just,
and they're a lot more expensive, right? They're like twice the price at least.
And these days going up. I mean, that's the other thing with some of this stuff. It's like, I wanted to drive the 430 and I wanted to drive the Pista because the values are going up.
I was going to say,
quickly that I don't know how much longer these types of businesses it's going to be easy to get your hands on something like this, right? For a few $100. So I wanted to drive these cars and experience them while I could. But then the last car I drove was one that it was just a bucket list one that it's a box I haven't checked yet. It was a McLaren 750. I've never driven a McLaren until last weekend. Not for lack of trying, they just often have, you know, either been broken when I do one of these things and I have to pick a different car, or to the point where a lot of these companies don't use McLarens because they're fairly unreliable. So this place had the new one, you know, the 750. It's a current car. It's a really good McLaren to learn kind of what they're all about these days, because it's, you know, the 720S architecture. Yeah, it's just the new version of that, but it has like a lot of the upgrades they put in the 765 LT. So it's a really good way to learn what McLaren's all about. And that, you know, not giving any spoilers away, that was definitely the fastest lap time that I put down. That car's stupidly fast. I mean, the Pista is stupidly fast, but the McLaren is really stupidly fast. Like, pretty crazy. But, you know, it was cool to drive the cars on a smaller, more technical track. Yeah. It didn't have any big straightaway like NJMP where you're doing like deep into triple digits. But there were a few times a lap where you're over 90 miles an hour. So it's a smaller track with higher sort of average speeds and a lot of really sort of technical corners and technical attributes. Very challenging, very cool. But yeah, I felt like I used it as a lesson. I felt I improved the things I needed to work on last time, and I left with new things I need to work on. So I feel like that's a plus in terms of the lesson side of it, and definitely got the experiences driving the cars. I definitely recommend Dream Racing. The only thing I would say, guys, if you're watching, is you should probably breathalyze people, especially in the morning, just in case. That's just one of those things. You might want to add that to your little repertoire. I was good, but some of the other people, as it turns out, might not have been. But otherwise, it's really good. They let you shift. They let you really. I mean, the traction control and stuff has to stay on, but the guy was pushing me faster than I could go. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
the limit was me. It was
You knew your limits.
Me back. What?
You knew your limits.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was very good. And if you take it seriously, do a couple cars, you can get a good little lesson out of it. And they teach you some cool things. And it's a track you can really work on your skills.
Right.
With. So I highly recommend it. Do both. If you're more of a beginner, try to do a day when you're in the infield, not on the outfield. But if you want a little bit more of a challenge, the outfield is very fun. It's just very
All right.
technical. So
I don't know when I'll be going to Vegas anytime soon, but all right.
you never know. Sometimes
never know.
Vegas finds you, Al.
That's right.
Know.
Yeah, well, I stopped gambling for a lot of reasons.
We didn't touch a gambling. We didn't touch a gambling machine.
There's all kinds of
So
shows
did
out
you-
there, trade shows.
Oh, trust me,
Yeah, we
John,
went.
I know.
We went and saw Cyndi Lauper. Had a little '80s concert. It was fun.
I saw what do you call it? Las Vegas Philharmonic when I was out there in 2013. It was transcendent. It was wonderful.
Yeah, you got to just not care about gambling. I will say this. Oh my God, it's exhausting. Like if you're not gambling and you're like, oh, we're gonna go here and we're gonna go here and we're gonna go here, the amount of walking you are gonna do is ridiculous.
Oh, I know. I was there in the middle of the summer in 2013, Nick. I know exactly what you're talking about. It was, first of all, you were there in April. It's not as hot.
No, it wasn't
in
wasn't
July,
that hot.
it is truly dreadful. It's
But
terrifying,
you
actually.
can
But yeah, I know what
stay
you mean.
inside through a lot of it. But if you're from the New York type area, you're like, oh, it's only a couple blocks. No. These properties are 5 long New York blocks wide.
Oh yeah, I know.
So it's
I'm well aware.
seems like it's right next door. It's like, no, dude, you're walking across Manhattan to get from
you're
Caesars
walking.
to
It's a
Bellagio.
15-minute walk to get from one property to the next, minimum.
Easily. Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
That's
And-
without crowds, right?
And
If you're
and
fighting the crowds, it's even longer.
well, for me, Nick, it was 4th of July weekend when I did
Oh, yeah.
exotics racing
Yeah.
13 years ago, and the crowds were crazy. I
Yeah,
will also say
sure.
this, and I think we all know this, John. I'm sure you do too.
Mhm.
It is against the law in Las Vegas, Nevada, to cross the strip at street level.
No, you can't. Yeah.
It's against the law.
Yeah.
So that's why they have all those skywalks. It's
There
nuts.
are a couple crosswalks too.
Yeah, but they're further north on the south end of
they're
the
up
strip.
by Paris. I've done the
where
one right
they're-
in front of Paris. before.
where the I can't call them the Oakland A's anymore because they're actually not called that now. Where the Athletics are building their new stadium in Vegas, which is the site of the old Tropicana. That's where I actually stayed. So the hotel I stayed in is actually gone. You can't cross the street there, period.
Yeah,
Because it's 8 lanes of traffic in each direction. You're crossing 16 lanes of traffic.
yeah.
You won't make it by the time the light turns green. You'll get
really the whole
you'll get mowed.
If you're walking, you got to get up on the second level. It's not street level. If you go street
You
level,
can-
you got to go up and down and up and down. You want to just
Yeah.
stay on that second level above the street.
And there are
goes between
skywalks
all
that'll
the
take you that
hotels.
way. So it's not
Yeah.
actually that difficult.
Yeah.
I will say this about Vegas. Everyone has to go to Vegas one time.
At least once. But I will say this. Don't go for more than 2 or 3 days. It's too much after 2 or 3
Yeah.
days.
I think
And
I
then
was there
just
for
money
4.
too. Dude, it's just the normal little breakfast sandwiches and shit. We're 80
$20
to
bucks
$80 to
What?
$100 for
for what, like
that-
a bacon, egg,
for
and
that
cheese.
coffee, a couple breakfast sandwiches, coffees, and hash browns. It was $80 to $100 at the place.
That's insane.
Egg
Were
slut.
you?
Egg
were
slut's
you
really
eating-
good, but it's
Were you eating on the strip the whole time? Because when
Oh,
I went,
yeah,
I was
dude.
off.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, we did. Bro, you don't
when I
get
was
this.
with my
This was the anniversary trip, bro. The anniversary
God.
dinner was at Nobu, and we did omakase. If you know what that is, omakase.
I
is
don't
where
want
you
to
let-
know.
You let the chef pick what you get, and you get
Oh,
a
God.
7-course dinner.
That's awesome.
Chef chosen. It was
You should do a review of that, man.
fantastic.
Do a review
What?
of that too.
Oh, dude, yeah, I didn't know. You know what? It was like halfway. We'd already finished the first course. We're like, wait, we got to take pictures of this, and so but we kept forgetting. It's really funny, but so yeah, whenever you if you're ever in Vegas and you have a few $100 burning a hole in your pocket for some really unique culinary experience, go to Nobu and get omakase. I will say it is like sensory overload, like everywhere you go, though.
Yeah,
like
it
just everything everywhere you look, something or somebody's trying to sell you something. And I will say,
totally.
when I got back, so Gab went on a work trip and I came back alone. And so I went and picked up the dogs and the charger. And then we went up to one of the breakfast spots I know in Manalapan. And I'm just sitting there in the car eating my bagel. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the first time I haven't had anything marketing to me in days. Like I'm just looking at trees. I'm looking at, the back of like the buildings of the plaza I was in or whatever. And it was like, I don't have anybody trying to sell me anything right now. And this feels nice. But side note, I thought the charger wouldn't feel fun after all that. And it did. It actually felt quite fun.
Nice.
So
You got to remember, it's a different package. It's
it's
fun
totally
in a
different.
4-door package. It does its job.
I've had other times where I've gotten back from those things, and like in my STI even where and I'm like, you go to steer and you're like, oh, what is this? But I never had that this time for some reason. And it's not that the Charger's not way sloppier than a 750S. It's that it's different and it sets different expectations. You know what I mean? And so but man, it was so much fun. Just that car, when you drive some really cool stuff and you get back in your car and you don't feel like your car is less than, you have the right car.
Yeah.
Good call. Now, Al, what did you do in cars?
So we're just talking about this past weekend, right?
No, last couple weeks.
So last couple of weeks, so we're talking about since Cars and Coffee.
Yeah.
Some things happened, and I have a rental car actually right now. So we will be scoring a vehicle very soon that is currently in my driveway, which is a Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited Reserve. It's brand new, 2026. This will be coming up very soon, and I will point out that I had the opportunity to rent a couple of different vehicles while I wait for what I need to wait for. And the decision was easy because this has the new Hurricane 4-cylinder engine in it, an engine that I up until this past weekend was not that familiar with, and I can now say I have become more familiar with it. So we will be seeing that very soon here on the Mind Over Motor podcast. Beyond that, on Friday on my way home from work, I decided to make a stop at Johnson's Corner Farm in, I want to say, and we may have to correct this in post, Southampton, New Jersey, in Burlington County. Now, last summer, I had passed by this particular cruise night. They are every Friday from, they say it's 4 to 8, but people start showing up at like 2. I'm not kidding.
No, I believe you. That's how it is by the one by my house too. It's
it's on Church Road.
They're at like noon.
It's right next to Lenape Regional High School, and it's a big property because it's a farmer's market, so they have a lot of space because they grow everything on site. And I sent you guys a couple of pieces of footage while you were in Vegas, so I'm sure you saw some of it. And I have to say, I will say this. I go to my fair share of cruise nights. I go to the one that Sentimental Cruisers does in my current home, in my hometown, which is every Friday at the McDonald's near where I live. And you get used to seeing the same cars day in and day out, and I'm sure the people that live around there have the same thing going on. And this is what I really like about this show. You have no idea what's going to show up because we had everything from a Porsche 356B teardrop coupe, which looked gorgeous.
Nice.
There was a Cuda a real one, Cuda AAR. A 400 spec 72 Roadrunner, which, and I will put this up on the internet sooner or later. This was a his and hers because husband was driving, I believe his name was Nick actually, was driving with the orange 1972 Roadrunner coupe with the 400 that had been stroked, and the thing sounded awesome. And his wife was driving a 73 Plymouth Cuda, which was an original 340 car. Very, very rare spec. Because by 73, that's the only engine you could get in that car. That wasn't a 318 or a slant 6. Because after 71, in the E-body, no more big blocks. The biggest motor you get was a 340 after 72. Most people don't realize that. In addition, also no convertibles. So it was really, really kind of special. There was a 71 Chevelle that caught my eye, but I don't think I have any photos of it. A 70 Charger with a full-on Hellcat swap. But he had kept most of the interior original. Didn't change a whole lot of it.
That kind of build scares me because the
this
thing
guy
about
did a lot of work to it.
The thing about a modern Hellcat is the whole car is kind of designed around being able to handle that engine. So actually, the handling and everything, the braking, it's all really well done. When you put that engine into an old chassis, it's not set up for 700 or 800 horsepower.
Well, I think
you have to do a lot. And
I talked that he had done everything.
A lot of these guys.
This guy had
I'd want to see the build.
This guy, I looked at the build, and this guy had definitely done chassis upgrades, suspension upgrades. He had done what he was supposed to do.
I hope so,
this car was not. It wasn't on bias plies. It was on modern radials.
Oh, well, yeah,
it was on
that's
correct
like
suspension. Yeah, but it wasn't as if he had just thrown the engine in.
Yeah, it's not just like
I'm just what I'm trying to say, Nick.
Right.
So this guy clearly wasn't that.
I just
dumb.
hope
he knew what he was doing.
I hope he didn't cut any corners because
I would be surprised if he did, because at least judging by the way it looked, judging by what he had done to it, it seemed like he hadn't really done that. So,
well, even like Kevin Hart didn't cut any corners either, man. And
that's true.
Died. He almost died in that crash.
That's fair.
That old platform isn't really up for that. But
that's fair.
Hey.
Yeah. There was also there was a couple of BMWs that showed up that caught my eye. Luxury spec 635 CSI. It was an automatic car, but it was very clean. And I think I sent you this one. This car, it was the first one I went over to, because the thing is, you guys know I'm not always the biggest import guy, but I have a little bit
just
of
the fact that you call it imports shows.
Well,
shows that you're not really an import guy, bro.
When it comes to older
that call
cars,
them imports are not import guys.
That's fair. Well, it goes back to the when I started learning more and more about muscle cars, I really gravitated towards it. But this is one car that I've always had a healthy amount of respect for. Honda S2000 CR.
Oh yeah, yes, that car. I remember that picture.
I think it was yellow. It was yellow. It was school bus yellow. I love these cars. They were the swan song for the S2000. They really were. And when I told a few people that this car was well worth, and I'm pretty sure I'm underestimating here, well north of $40,000 in great condition.
You can almost double that, basically.
Oh, I know. I was saying 50 at the show.
I think in
and that's 50 for like a driver.
Low mileage. I think they're even touching six figures.
I'm not.
I think a driver quality one with like a decent amount of miles on it's probably 60.
Yeah.
70.
This one was yellow and clearly looked like a driver.
Good.
So whoever drove it, I was very happy to see that. But the one car that was driven in that caught my eye within 4 seconds. Yeah, Enzo, I know. I'm going to talk about the BMW now. A 1994 BMW M5.
Oh yeah.
In Hellrat. The red, the bright red, the fire engine.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Retina blowing red with tan leather seats. The airbag cover on the dashboard was like this. It was warped.
Oh wow.
I didn't get a good look at the instrument panel, but this thing had to have well north of 150,000 miles on it. The paint was really beat. I mean, the clear coat looked like.
Properly used.
Oh no, this car was clearly loved.
Good.
Maybe a little bit too loved.
I love seeing that.
I think it needed a paint job, but it was on the same rims that my friend Matt Filosa had on his 540i, which are really cool looking wheels. And I heard him coming in, and this was the last M5 made with an inline six, because the one after this has the 8-cylinder in it. The one after this is the 839.
So far, I have a feeling we have 6-cylinder hybrids coming in our future, though.
Okay, naturally aspirated inline six with a manual.
Fair. Definitely not going to be natural,
because that's never going to happen again. And it was also the last M5 where I think the engine was built by hand.
Yeah.
So real special car.
That I don't know.
And this was the first E34 M5 I've seen that had 2 airbags, which is a little bit of a rarity because production after 1991-92 really falls off on these. Yeah. So finding a later E34 M5 is a real rarity. There was a lot of great cars. IROC Camaro that I sent you, which was another rare bird, an IROC Camaro. Actually, no, it wasn't IROC. It was Z28. Yeah, I think it was Z28. In brown with no T-tops. So the genuine hardtop. Very seldom seen.
You know what we should do? We should do like
cool
once a month. We should try to make it out to just some random cruise nights around the state in areas that we're not from. Yeah. Like just purposely go to new cruise nights.
Yeah, I agree.
Then it never gets stale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you guys should meet me
in another area.
I think you guys should meet me at Johnson's Corner Farm. I was gonna stay a little bit longer, but the problem was the line to get food it went all the way into the show to the point where I look and I'm like, yeah, I'll be here till after the sun goes down. So after that, I hightailed it home because I had shrimp tacos that were ready to be made, and I was like, I want to make my tacos.
Yeah.
Well, tacos are tacos. Of course, I want a taco. It was a really, really impressive show. I was very, very impressed. Yeah.
We should probably keep this going. John, do you have any what you've done in cars lately, or you've been busy?
Sure. Yeah, I got one for you guys. So you guys know my daily is a 2018 GMC 1500.
Oh, I think I saw this online.
Yeah, you might have seen this. So
yeah, I did.
During the last few weeks, I had a turn signal go out. Right? You would think, okay, that has to do with the safety, operation of vehicle, and that should be relatively serviceable, right? That should be something pretty easy to change.
Yeah.
Well, as it turns out, it's not easy to change at all. So I actually, in order to service the turn signal, you have to take tons of the shroud off of the engine above the radiator. You have to take both headlights out. And in order to do that, you have to pull the grill off. You have to pull body panels off. Like, it was absolutely insane, the amount of work that you have to do to change a turn signal. So here's an image, Nick.
We'll dub it over
later.
But
it's just honestly nuts. Like the kind of stuff, like that's all. You have to remove all that stuff. You have to go into the wheel well and like remove bolts that hold in clips on the body, and all this stuff is plastic, right? So you're pulling it off. You're like, am I gonna?
You don't want to break it. Yeah, that's obscene.
Yeah.
This reminds me, John, of when I before you knew me really well, when I had that red Cadillac sedan. The weekend that my nephew was born, I had a headlight go out like a week prior to that, and I got pulled over on my way home from the airport after I went to go meet him for the first time, and it was because I had a headlight go.
Yeah.
And I went and got quotes, and it was $350. And this is 4 years ago price, by the way, probably more now.
In what kind of a car?
2014 Cadillac ATS.
Okay.
Because they had the procedure, and it's crazy because the procedure is a lot simpler on that car than it was on your pickup truck. The procedure is
crazier.
The procedure on that car was, and this is a car that's 4 years older than yours, put car on lift, remove front wheel, remove inner fender liner, and that gets you access to the headlight bulbs. So it's actually not that complicated compared to you, but the crappy part is the amount of labor required to remove that fender liner means you're paying $300 plus for a $60 part.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's obscene, man.
Yeah, that's
I'm
honestly-
fearful of, and Nick, you should be too. When our cars need lights, what that's going to look like.
Who knows? All I
Any
know
of
is
these
whenever I
things-
gotta take off the front bumper, I'm putting the Hellcat air nostril in.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I can't. There's not much for my car, is there?
I don't think
You'll
yours
find
yours
something.
didn't have a Hellcat version, so it wouldn't have that.
There's body kits, aftermarket.
Yeah, I don't know. You could see.
Anything related to like direct safety, like if you can get pulled over if your light goes out, then you should be able to change it with no tools on the side of the road.
Agreed. Yes.
I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
should just be like
Totally.
it just be with your hand, right? You should
Yeah.
just be able to just change that. So
I changed the
know.
bulbs on my Lincoln myself. I changed the bulbs on my Subaru myself. The Volvos that I did on my own.
Well, and especially
if-
like a Chevy truck like yours.
on a Chevy truck, man.
You know, like if
That's
it's
what
like
I'm saying, dude,
if it's like a
you know?
fucking Porsche Cayman or something, okay,
Right.
fine. I get if it's a weird, but like
Yeah.
this is utilitarian as it comes, right?
Yeah.
Hey, John, is that a
Should be easy.
GM Genuine Parts coffee mug right there?
That's right. GM genuine parts. I had visited
there a
I had visited GM, so yeah, I figured I'd
Is
rock
there
their
a
mug,
crack in it yet?
but not
Did it
yet.
crack the block yet?
Not yet.
Sorry, I'm being a jerk.
Oh my god. All right. Well, let's
That's
move
a
on
shit show and a
to
half.
the second topic tonight. This is in light of certain political things that are going on that are driving the price of gas through the roof.
For some reason it's
Yeah.
gone up. We don't know why, right? None of us know why.
Yes, we don't know why. We're not going to talk about why. But the point is,
A certain country
gas
in the world
going
is
up.
playing a game of hide and go fuck around, and we're all paying the price.
Yes. So, the John, you posed the question.
Sure. Yeah. So really the question is, we're into V8s, we're into V10s, we're into V12s, but can you have fun with less? What can you do with something fuel efficient, something that's reasonable, something that doesn't make you, cry if you're going to take it out on a fun drive all the time?
Exactly. And luckily these days there's actually a good amount of options for this.
Yeah.
Especially on the used market.
What I will say though is there's a few different types of considerations here. I mean, I think the most basic is you look at highway fuel economy and what can a car do if you literally just cruise on the highway? Can you get over 30 or whatever in a fun car, right? Let's also be honest. There's, we were talking about this a little earlier. How much fun can you have in a car that gets 30 miles per gallon? How much fun can you have in a car that gets 40? How much fun can you have in a car that gets 50 miles per gallon? There's not that many. There's less and less fun cars as you go up.
Yes, there are.
genuinely fun cars. So you kind of have to look at, and I think we should touch on that. Like, what are some examples, real quick, of a car that's fun? Not at 30. Let's say at 40 miles per gallon. What's a genuinely fun car at 40 miles that can see 40 miles per gallon? Not averaging all the time, but that if you try, you can go over 40.
I got one for you. So being that it is Cinco de Mayo, this is a little bit appropriate, but I think the
All right.
Ford Fiesta is a really great car, especially the ST model.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're looking
I don't
at
think
fun,
the ST will do 40, but the base one will.
The
yeah, I think
ST
if
will
you're
do mid
if you're
30s.
polite, if
You
you're
really?
polite, I think
Wow,
can
you
get
own
to-
one. You can do mid 30. You got mid 30s out of that?
I was getting 34 to 35 miles to the gallon on the
okay.
highway out of that car pretty easily.
That's pretty good.
And even in the city, it wasn't bad because remember, they don't weigh anything.
yeah,
they're
that's pretty light.
Now, if you drive like your hair's on fire all the time, obviously YMMV, your mileage may vary. But if you drive, with reasonable efficiency, at least on the freeways, it's not bad. Plus, those cars can take regular gasoline, they can take mid-grade, they can take premium, depending upon what you want to do with it, because the engine computer will actually adapt to the grade of fuel you're using. I do know that because I did check that when I had that car.
Yeah.
And and honestly, I didn't notice a discernible drop in performance.
So
I
mine
thought
at
that the car
40,
drove fine.
mine at 40, that is a genuine 40. And we didn't fully get the car, but we got a version of it that you could with light tweaks turn it into this. Golf TDI Sport Wagon from Volkswagen.
Okay.
Manual.
Okay. Yeah.
And you can do the European GTD modifications to it. That was one car that I kind of wanted to make. I wound up getting a CC because of whatever, but I was thinking.
Yeah, your reasons.
I have my reasons, but I was thinking about getting a manual Jetta or manual. Yeah, I guess it was a Jetta Sport Wagon or whatever. The Mark V or Mark VI Sport Wagon in TDI with a stick, and then doing the GTD upgrades to it, basically. We never got that car here, but I think they did get them in Europe or a version of it. It was doable, and it would have been pretty fun, and it would have, seen 40, 45 miles per gallon on the highway. So that's one of the only ones I can really think of that genuinely could do it. I guess the other thing is that the new Prius, as lame as that sounds, is way more fun to drive than it should be. And, that can do 50. So
Yeah.
It's not a performance car. It's not a fun car by purpose, but it's more fun than you'd think. So I guess if you want 50 miles per gallon in a car that kind of handles and kind of has a little acceleration, I mean, there's also EVs, I guess, but we're not.
Can you do 40 in a i8 BMW?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you might be able.
Yeah,
to,
I think so.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point.
So some of the hybrid
the
stuff,
i8, dude.
Yeah, you could rock an i8. It'd be fun.
That's a wild one.
It's definitely a good option.
I mean,
Because that's a 3-cylinder, right?
Yeah, it's a 3. It's an inline 3. That's
mini
right.
engine.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're
I don't know, man.
only talking about fuel costs, yeah.
Right, exactly. We're not talking about any other costs. Yeah, fuel.
We're not talking about what else is going to cost you. Let's see. They're
Your
saying
Dignity?
now, I mean, it's kind of it averages like 28, they say.
Here's one that I
So
wanted to bring up.
maybe you can, I mean, on the highway, if you hypermile, maybe you could touch 40.
Okay.
I don't think the Chevy Cruze was ever offered with a diesel and a stick.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was
With a
automatic
stick?
only.
Cruise,
yeah,
diesel,
I thought
stick, and you can get it
Really?
with a 5-door. Yeah, they're
A friend of
rare.
mine, Cecily
Oh, wow.
Car,
Yeah.
get him as a sedan too. I think my friend Cecily Carnes, who works for Bring a Trailer, she has one.
Wow.
I don't know if it's a manual. I'd have to ask her. I haven't spoken to her in a bit. Have to ask her.
But is that a fun car?
She seems to
All right,
really
with
love
the,
it.
with the manual, and actually, dude, a Chevy Cruze handles. Me and Albert followed.
We
a group
had
of
one in
Lamborghinis.
Pebble Beach.
Yeah, we
My
followed
God,
a group
that
of
was
Lamborghinis
12
on the
years
mountain
ago. We were
roads with a Chevy
children.
Cruze, and that bitch handles. Let
I've
me
heard
tell
they
you
handle.
what.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
They really
Yeah.
weren't bad. The handling was really good. It's just, it's
Yeah, it's
General
dog
Motors
shit
and compact
slow, but,
cars.
like, yeah,
No, that's not what I was about to
it
say.
carries speed.
It's here's the problem. It's General Motors and compact cars. What that means is it's got the build quality of tracing paper.
Yeah,
They don't have this. They have the to quote one of my favorite YouTubers of all times, the sports commentator. His name's I'm not even kidding. This is actually his handle, Urinating Tree. He's awesome. He said this about former NHL coach Mike Keenan, and I think we can apply this phrase to GM's compact cars. Mike Keenan has the shelf life of milk. Describes GM compacts really, really well.
Huh.
They kind of have that problem. But
It
yeah,
was
if I
pretty
may,
shocking, though, how well that thing handled.
that car was very surprising.
But like,
if
yes, in
I-
terms of legitimate fun, like it is still an economy car. It's not.
It's
focused
still
on
an
being fun.
econo box.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Cruze was the only one of the post J body GM compacts where General Motors never made any kind of sport version. Because the Cavalier, you got the Z24, which wasn't that quick, but it was the sportier version. With the Cobalt, there were a couple different Cobalt SSs that got launched. With the Cruze, that never happened. And I feel like it was a missed opportunity by GM. But that's just my 2 cents in the matter. I don't know what I'm talking about at the time anyway.
Nick, what kind of mileage do you get in your Miata?
Well, okay, so that is an entire topic I want to talk about within this topic.
I knew you were going to bring this up.
Quick Cinco de Mayo break. This is another type of tequila. It's a Blanco from Cascaween, and it's also it's called Destino. And tequila nerds will also know what this is. And it's very, very, very good and not very cheap. But super delicious.
What was it called?
Okay.
It's called Cascaween Destino.
Okay.
You're going to do that.
Cascaween is spelled Cascauin.
Let's talk about North America now.
But yeah, Cinco de Mayo, you got to drink good shit.
I'm drinking good shit too.
Oh, there you go. He's got the Weller 12. That's not Cinco de Mayo related though, bro.
I don't care. I want that. I want it. I just cleaned out the glass. That Patron Silver kicked me.
I bet it did.
Yeah, that one. I think Enzo went in for a drink and bit me over it.
All right, so Miatas in terms of fuel economy, I will say I've owned a few, driven many.
Yes.
The thing with Miatas, so I guess you can kind of split out the ND, the current ones, in their own category because they legitimately get good fuel economy. They'll average
I had one for a little
30
while.
to 33 or so. They'll average, even if you're driving them pretty spiritedly. The new Skyactiv engine is incredibly efficient.
Yes.
I would say to the NC and prior, they're not going to get really high mileage, but they also don't drop that low when you're flooring it all the time. So that's
they'll get mid to high 20s.
Like even my NC, it was a 6-speed, and I'm like, oh, good, maybe it'll have a good cruising gear. 6th gear is 1-to-1, so it had like 5 really short gears, and the 6th gear that's like the 5th gear in my NA, right? So it isn't really that car really couldn't get over like much over like 28 is like the highest I ever saw in that car. Granted, I would drive it pretty quick. Maybe you could get 30 if you like actually did 70 with the roof up and wanted to blow your brains out, but I didn't do that.
You mean blow your eardrums out?
Sure. It basically they won't go that high, but they won't go that low. Like the lowest I ever saw on a really spirited run in that car was like around 21, like average. So they don't dip. Whereas like if you have a car with a lot of power, like I don't know, like Shane's Elantra N or something like that with like almost 300 horsepower. If you're using the power, you're gonna get like 17 or 16 miles per gallon because it's horsepower is horsepower. It's a certain amount of fuel burned in a certain amount of time. It doesn't matter if it's an 8-cylinder or 4-cylinder turbo. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a V12 or a rotary. An amount of power is the amount of power is the amount of fuel you burn in a given amount of time. Now, it's the cruising that you can do. The Elantra N's they'll do like 35 or so. People are seeing even like higher mid 30s cruising. So that's okay. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to use the horsepower, it's going to drink. But a Miata doesn't have a ton of horsepower. So even when you are using all of the Miata's horsepower, it's not going to drink too much. So your average kind of stays up, even though you can't really like get big fuel economy, I would say. And they also
that makes sense.
Up until the NCs, they took regular. Like I put regular in mine. It's fine.
Yeah.
They're tuned for that. The newer ones I think require at least 91, a little bit more high strung engines and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I say if you have a dedicated fun car and you want something that isn't crazy on gas, a Miata is a great option. S2000s drink a lot more than Miatas do. They're,
I believe that. Yeah.
High revving, a little bit bigger engine.
And they entice you to drink because they rev to what, 9,000 RPM?
Yeah,
like
and they're making 240 horsepower instead of 160
and they're peaky
or whatever. Yeah, they're like, I mean, yeah, you have to use the power.
You have to rev the nuts
really
off it to get to peak power. You really do.
Yeah, you really have to rev them to get anything out of them. And so, like, I think, yeah, like S2000s don't get great mileage at all in that type of car.
They don't.
And also they're geared like super aggressive. They're great, but they're not, not really. I wouldn't put them in this category.
Right.
And I guess the other thing that should be said is, GM products, Corvettes, Camaros.
I was just about to say that. I was hoping you'd let me
Corvette,
talk about that.
This sounds dumb, but it's true. If you count
it's
what
hilarious.
the car is capable of when you're actually trying to get good mileage, cruising. if you gun it in these cars, they're big V8s, so they're gonna drink
Yeah,
it.
they're gonna drink
yeah.
like crazy.
Yeah,
But
they're gonna chuck.
If you take a vet and this, by the way, goes for, I think, all the way back to the ones that they built in the 90s. This goes all the way back to the C4. If you take one with a manual and you stick it in sixth gear on an interstate at 70 miles an hour, or even at 80 for that matter,
Yeah, they
the
basically
engine is, you're sitting there at probably, I don't know, like 1100 RPM, and you're just flying.
Yeah.
The
And they're so
engine is,
aerodynamic.
they're
the
ridiculous.
vets especially.
It's, oh my God, the C5
Yeah.
and C6 are like the poster
Yeah.
child for this.
Yeah.
And it was so good that it actually allowed on the manuals. I don't know if this applies to the automatics, but I know on the
I
manuals.
think it does. The autos, if
got
anything, have probably a taller gear.
No, but the automatic transmission was sap power because it's a traditional automatic.
You might lose efficiency.
It's a
Right.
tradition. It's a traditional GM automatic, whether it's
Yeah,
a 4L60, a 4L80, or a 6L80 in the later cars. The ZF 6-speed manuals were the better ones. They were always were. It allowed General Motors on the manuals, specifically the manual cars, to avoid the gas guzzler tax back when that was a thing. So, yeah. And it also, it was a selling point because it allowed GM to say, hey, this car can actually hit semi-low emissions.
Yeah.
It can also get better gas mileage. And I mean, granted, the only major thing you gave up was practicality because Corvettes, let's be honest here, they're only two-seaters.
Yeah.
All that said, there's a couple other cars on my that I think deserve some degree of mention here. I would say that some of the older BMWs, like the Z3, I think are definitely one of those cars you can get that will get semi-reasonable gas mileage with a stick. Mini Cooper S's, especially the turbocharged ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the supercharged ones get the supercharged ones. That pulley's going the whole time. You're gonna end up losing a lot of gas. And he got very active. Are you freaking nocturnal or something?
He wants a Mini Cooper S.
No, the Mini Cooper is pretty good for fuel economy. I agree.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Any kind of these
Enzo,
roadsters, like the Spider, the MR2 Spider, that's getting over 30.
You know what though? I don't know, because those are
let's
also
take a quick
super tight gear.
Yeah,
like
well,
their gear ratios are super
about this?
aggressive.
Depends how fast you're going.
Let's ask the bird
know.
a question. Let's ask Enzo. So Enzo, you're listening, right, buddy? Here's your question. Here's Enzo. Enzo's gonna have to answer this. Would you rather have, for fuel efficiency, the Fiat 500 Abarth or the Mini Cooper S with a stick in the hatchback? I think he's going to want the Fiat, but that's just because he's Enzo.
He should want the Fiat between those. The Fiat is.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's named after.
You're actually
He's
kind of
named
right.
after Enzo Ferrari.
The MR2 gets like 26 and 33. They're saying
Ooh,
that's pretty good because it's light.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad for a peaky little car.
There's another car we haven't mentioned, the Civic, the older Civic SIs.
Good call.
They weren't horrible.
Well,
on
it's
gas.
like the S2000 though. You
got to rev it off.
If you're really cruising, it'll do it. If you're gonna use the performance of the car at all,
you're gonna lose fuel.
You're gonna dump gas just because it has to rev so damn much.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, these days, man, like a lot of these like turbocharged 4 and 6 cylinder sports sedans can do like a BMW M340i. That'll do like mid 30s if you're cruising.
I'm gonna look up the Cadillac CT4 Blackwing.
Yeah, see what that'll do. I mean, like a lot of the cars these days
buy one of those.
can do that. Can do over 30 on the highway. Again, it's not going to do average over 30 if you're driving it in the manner with which it's supposed to be driven. You don't buy a Blackwing or an M3 or something to baby
garbage.
But
garbage.
It's probably because of the gear ratios.
How about a Lotus Elise?
With a manual CT4B Blackwing.
Lotus Elise could be an interesting one.
Yeah, well, with a stick shift, because you were asked,
let's see.
CT4B Blackwing is
21 and 27,
in the
John. So I think the gear ratio is getting in the way of that one a little
bit.
Just
shy.
With the Lotus?
Miata.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Makes me curious then. I'm actually going to look up another GM car. I'm on a GM kick now. the Pontiac Solstice GXP.
Yeah,
That's
that
another,
might
that's
do it.
another one that maybe
Yeah.
could cruise well, but
Here's
Just
I think
know
one
that's
this.
kind of
Good
the
luck
thing is
finding. Good luck
buying a
finding
car.
one.
I think that the gold's like really the rule is like for really genuinely fun cars. If it's a genuinely fun model, like a performance model or a sports car,
Ooh, 19 and 28.
it actually can realistically cruise and get 30 or more mpg, I consider
pretty
that
strong.
fuel efficient in a fun car.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
30
And
30 is
considering
kind
these
of the bar.
days that, it's
Yeah, I think 30 is the
30 is a
bar.
decent bar.
Yeah.
I would say, and here's the thing, I'm going to do myself a favor and look up. But did we mention the Fiat Spider yet? The Spider Abarth?
No. What's that?
No,
do?
but they
not.
I'm
get
curious how
similar
that
to
is
the
compared
ND.
to Miata.
They get similar to the ND. They're like I think like 34.
Yeah, but it's got the turbocharged 1.4 in it, so
Yeah,
it's
it's got
going to
the
be
eight-bar.
different. So
Yeah,
same weight.
it's not that different in fuel economy.
So
It
here's
will
one.
drink way more gas
Oh,
when
you're on it.
Yeah, when you're on it, it will
26
or
and
it's
30. It's 26 city, 35 highway.
like
That's
That's
pretty good.
actually not so bad.
that's if you're not on it that much.
Yo, that's using the EPA's test procedures, which
Yeah.
hopefully would use the air conditioning as well. Because let's be honest here,
In,
they got
the
in
real
trouble for
world,
years for
in the
not
real
doing
world,
that.
those things are boosted, and you kind of need to use the boost a lot to get them to go anywhere. Fun car, very fun car.
Yes.
So I
But-
got one
You know,
for you that
Oh, that
is a lot. It's a car I think is fun, but may not really be in a fun car category. I think
Okay.
it's pretty.
Nick?
They're pretty unique. You can get it in a manual, and that is the original Honda Insight. They get a lot.
I'm glad you
crazy
brought that
mileage.
up.
What do those get? Because that's one that could be in
Let's
like
say
the
they're in the 50s.
They're at least in the 50s.
Yeah.
I know people use them for
Interesting.
hypermiling, so
Yeah.
they could be even higher.
I've heard of
I wouldn't be
people that
surprised if you could touch 60 or 70 in these.
So there's your answer
Yeah.
for the 50 mile per gallon range. You know?
Yeah.
I've heard of people
Yeah.
that upgrade the chassis for autocross with those
Yeah.
because they don't weigh. They're a
That's pretty
go-kart.
cool.
And honestly, it's one of the few modern cars that have been made that make fender skirts look cool.
Yeah.
100%. Oh yeah.
They are
That's got a
such
cool
cool
look.
cars. I would if I had to have an early 2000s hybrid, that's my pick every time.
Yeah.
Give me and give me the green one
I will say,
or blue.
we
Blue-
have to
blue
be
looks
kind
cool
of,
on 'em, too.
we got to be a little inclusive here. I do consider hypermiling a form of enthusiast driving. It isn't
Yeah.
necessarily my
Yeah.
chosen field, but
It
I
is
have done it
entertaining.
before, and it does take it takes just as much focus to do that as it does to
Yeah.
drive fast. Honestly,
I will openly admit I have hypermiled the 300 twice.
what? Because you were low on gas and you had to.
It was more because I had passed the what do you call it? I had passed the Monmouth. If you guys know where this is, the Monmouth Rest area on the Garden State Parkway, which is mile marker 101, I believe, maybe 99. It's like right near 195. And my gas light hadn't come on yet. I was driving home from my parents' house, and I was like, let's see if I can make it home on an indicated 50 miles of gasoline. I think it was 50 or 40, 48. And I knew that I was 20 miles from my house, 20 to 22 miles. I didn't make it. I had to fill up the second I got off the Parkway.
When you're driving a Hemi car, just stop and get gas.
Well, what I did was I put it.
The only place I would have to
down
hypermile my car is if I was like getting low on gas heading into Chicago. Because if you stop for gas in Chicago in a Hemi car, you're gonna have to walk somewhere to the bus station, probably.
Oh yeah,
Because-
good point.
Yeah,
Chicago.
Chirac, dude. Anyway,
Yeah, I guess. Well, unless what if you're on the north side? Do you just
I think
the
they
south
go
side?
where-
The south
I
side.
don't think
worry.
anywhere's safe in that city.
What about K cars?
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
That's fun.
Talk about
Depends
fun.
on the car for me.
Something, yeah.
I don't know. Part of me would probably want a. I don't know. Part of me wants a Nissan Figaro and then convert it to a stick
Yeah.
because I think they all came as automatics.
No, I think they're less. I believe you could get them in manual. They're just not that common in manual.
I've never seen one with a manual.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Either way,
Never ever.
but yeah, that might be a good idea. That
Honda Fit is another good one.
technically, I would go with like one of the K sports cars. I mean, yeah, that's like a Honda Beat. It's hard to argue with a Beat, high revving, and you're not going to use that much gas.
Yeah, Beat's a cool car.
Super fun.
I don't know. Part of me kind of would want to see. I like the Suzuki though.
So let me ask you this. I think we're
Cappuccino.
kind of ready
Kinda
to
like it.
sort of
Yeah.
wrap this topic up. I want to pose one more question, and that is,
All right.
how high would gas have to get for you to consider an EV? What's your number?
Oh,
Everybody's
shit,
got a
that's like
number.
another. That's like another.
Ooh. Hey,
Um,
what do you?
Well, so I work from home, and I can walk to get stuff. So to like, I mean, like, are we talking to add an EV or to sell
just leave,
something I like?
Leave
and
your
get
gas cars
EVs.
behind. You're saying, you know
Oh.
what? I can't do this anymore. I'm done. What would be your number?
I don't think there is a number.
Okay.
I mean, don't be wrong.
agree.
There's a number where I would daily one, and I would, use my free money to put gas in my fun car or cars. But I don't know. This is my thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
If I'd probably be. I don't know, man. I feel like I'd be a refugee or something at that point. Something would have had to happen where like I'm no longer like, where like the world is like exploded and we're like refugees or something for me to give it up. Like if I have my own property and I have a gainful employment, I'm gonna have some fun internal combustion car of some type. You know what I mean? I don't think there is I don't think there's a number. There's a number where I would maybe get a daily that was an EV.
Sure. So what would that be?
Well,
miles
again,
per
it's
gallon?
pretty high because, like I said, I can
8.
walk to 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? So I don't really. I would buy a bicycle. Let's put it this way: I would own a bicycle or two before I would probably buy an EV.
That's
Yeah,
a
like
bold
literally
statement.
bike
coming
Or
from you.
motorcycle.
or a
You know,
motorcycle or
motorcycle.
scooter. Like
Yeah.
I'm in town, so I'm close enough to like all of the things that I need to sustain myself. I could literally bike to all of them or walk.
Yeah.
So like
You just
if it was
admitted that you would go
dire,
to 7-Eleven for food. You need
if
help.
it was honestly no, it's not just 7-Eleven, dude. I'm close to like all these other plazas and stuff. Like I don't have a
I'm
commute.
fucking with you.
So like I don't
Yeah, you don't.
know, man. It would have to be pretty damn high. It would have to be pretty high.
So you would actually take a lifestyle change to go to public transportation or like other stuff like bikes before.
Okay, I don't know about public transportation, but I think I'd buy.
Yeah,
I would
that's
buy.
beyond
All
it
right,
for
I'll
you.
put it this way: I would buy a bicycle before I'd buy an EV, but I would buy an EV way before I'd ever take the bus.
Okay. All right. No,
I'm not a
that's-
big
yeah.
public transportation guy myself.
So
but-
this is a saying that I've heard that it may be conflicting to you, but they say there's more fun in a gallon of gas than a barrel of whiskey. Now, this is a little bit conflicting
I
for
don't
you,
know,
man. I don't know. That's
a
something
gallon
maybe
of
for another
whiskey?
episode.
I think here's the thing: a barrel of whiskey is a lot of whiskey.
It's a lot.
That is
yeah.
that's like hundreds.
Well, that's like 55 gallons,
at least
right?
100 bottles, right?
Yeah.
A gallon of gas is like, I mean, I would say like if you're talking about how long does it last compared to like a bottle of whiskey, it's like, maybe a gallon of gas is like, I don't know, like a couple shots of whiskey.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a big difference in volume. Yeah.
It's not really the comparable amount, but yeah, I mean,
That's
I mean,
the
like,
saying though. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be, I don't know. I don't
That's
really
a hard one. No, you don't have
I mean,
to have
if
the
you're
answer.
asking if I would
It's a tough
choose
one.
if I would choose cars or booze collecting, I would give up the booze first, of course.
Okay.
And I already learned that about myself when my red Miata got totaled. I stopped all of the whiskey collecting dead, just cold turkey, to make the new Miata happen. So I know when it's push comes to shove, I definitely choose cars. But what about you, John? How expensive would gas have to get for you to give up anything and daily and EV and?
No, I mean, I think I would go to motorcycle like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I did a road trip out in California, and this was a few years ago, and I wasn't really thinking about it that much. My initial plan was to actually rent a not a Hellcat, but a Charger, like you have. And I was going to
Yeah.
road trip out there in California. Thankfully, that car wasn't available because when I got there, gas was damn near $7 a gallon.
Yeah.
So
of money.
to me, something like that, $7 a gallon I would definitely be like, this is unpleasant, and it's not something that I necessarily would want to deal with all the time. So I might have probably a more fuel efficient vehicle. I don't know.
I think for just thinking about it, like practically wise, I would probably turn the truck into something more efficient first.
Yeah,
That
like
would,
something
that
like
would
the
be the
Insight.
change I would actually make. I wouldn't sell the
Yeah.
Miata. I probably wouldn't even sell the Charger. I would turn the truck into something like a Prius or I don't know. Probably
But
not
you
even.
could easily, you could easily go Honda Insight. You're getting 50
Yeah.
miles to the gallon.
That's what I mean.
There you
Just
go.
something to run
Yeah.
about, like
Yeah.
something that takes regular to run about.
Yeah.
easy.
I guess I'm in a different position than the two of you.
Yeah, you don't have to drive for work in your own car.
Yeah, I have a corporate vehicle, so it would probably have to get to the point where the company would take away the vehicles because they can't afford to run them anymore.
Yeah.
In which case, it would be a big lifestyle change because I will probably be forced into not only having an EV, but I would make sure, and they would probably do this. Actually, they've done this for other people. They would have to install a charger at my home.
Yeah.
And I would need to probably fight my HOA to allow the vehicle to be parked on site because I'm not allowed to do
you
that
have
right
to
now.
charge it. Right.
Yeah, but how else am I going to charge? What am I going to do? Park at the Wawa down the street? Like,
You're gonna-
great plan.
You're gonna
Great plan,
start
guys.
reading books and go to Barnes and Noble a lot, bro.
Mm,
Like all the other Tesla owners in this area.
That's their problem, not mine. But if I was in your position and I did not have a company car, I'm in a bit of a similar position to Nick, in fact, because I have a shop right that is literally a 5-minute walk from the house. So if I need groceries, I hoof it. If I need to I literally did this with my dry cleaning last week. If I need to go pick up it's actually sitting right there right now. My tuxedo that I wear for concerts. I walk to the dry cleaner. The only thing I wouldn't be able to do is walk to the butcher because the butcher I like isn't that close. Thinking about it, we would need to see a straight up apocalypse for me to completely change my life. I would say that I would definitely consider getting something more fuel efficient if I needed it daily than the 300. Wouldn't take much for me because I've done that before.
Yeah.
And I would probably go and get another Fiesta ST. Probably
Yeah.
not green.
You don't have to
Probably
give
get-
up fun. You just pick something else.
I would probably not get another green one. I'd probably get like, I don't know, blue. I like blue.
Yeah.
Or honestly, race red's kind of cool. But yeah, it's for right now in my situation. I don't drive the 300 enough to make me feel as if, yeah, okay, fine. Filling it up costs $80. The Grand Cherokee was a $90 fill up today almost. Because it's got a huge fuel tank.
That's a big tank.
Yeah, it's 3/4 of a tank was 18 gallons.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's got a very large
Yeah, that's
tank.
pretty big.
Built
you've
for road
seen-
trips.
You've seen Mad Max, right? You know the premise of the lack of
I
fuel.
actually
They're still
haven't seen
driving.
that movie.
They're still driving supercharged V8s.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah, they
so
are.
I think that would kind of be.
Yeah, I
Our
actually
style,
haven't seen
you know?
that movie, believe it or not.
Well, start watching it, man. Where
I
you
will
been?
say one change
I
I
won't
have
watch it.
made. I will say one change I have made in the last few weeks as all this has been going on is and again, this has been helped by the weather. It's been pretty nice. I have been when I go drive for fun, go to coffee, I have been reaching for the Miata keys a little bit more than the Charger keys. Granted, I'm still driving everything at least once a week, but like, times when I would maybe drive the Charger 2 or 3 times a week, maybe I'm driving it 1 or 2 times a week and I'm filling that in with Miata drives. So picking the more
I'm
efficient
not in that
fun
position.
car, but all right. And on that note, I think it is time to end this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel, like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Comment. Let us know where we went wrong. Let us know where we went right. And be sure to check us out on the next video. And we will see you next time. Take care.
Have a good one. Thanks for sticking with us all the way to the end, and have a good night.
I'm going to bed.
as he almost falls off his chair.